court nerds. Today we have several clips of offenders talking back to the court. Let's start with Donald Lester, who is not getting along with his public defender or the entire court system for that matter. Lester is currently a guest of the state with a hefty $20,000 bond over his head. Lester's story isn't just about his alleged possession of controlled substances, it's also about his flair for courtroom theatrics and a hot mic.
I'm sorry, Mr. Glazer, if you responded, you were muted, so I couldn't hear you.
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
All right. 1 second. Let me get that set up. All right. We are on the record in file 23-21516-FH, People versus Donald Raymond Lamont Lester. We are here today for a pretrial conference in this case, and we are proceeding today by video conference. First, let me ask the attorneys to place their appearance on the record, beginning with Mr. Bayanetto.
Alex Bayanetto for the people.
You are muted, Mr. Glazer.
John Glazer on behalf of Mr. Lester.
Mr. Glazer, where do we stand with Mr. Lester's case today?
Your Honor, at this point, I can't talk to Mr. Lester. He, when we try to talk, he just starts screaming and yelling at me and won't listen to anything I've got to say. There's been a plea bargain offered to him, but I can't even get a chance to get it into him. I'm looking back at my notes, and Mr. Murphy apparently had the same problem with him on September 21st. He said he was going to represent himself, and he ended up waiving it. And Mr. Murphy has notes that all he did is scream and yell at him, and he didn't like being trashed on the record by his client. If Mr. Lester doesn't want to listen to me, and I can't even get him to listen at all, Your Honor, all he wants to do is scream and yell. I told him I'd set it for trial. He didn't want to set it for trial. What he really wants to do is vent. Now, there are some notes that he may have some mental health issues, according to a family member. But if Mr. Lester doesn't want to talk to me, I don't know what to do other than just...
What did you just say? What did you just say? A family member did what?
Mr. Lester, please sit down and be quiet.
A family member called and say you may have some mental health issues, which may mean we need to evaluate you.
My family member couldn't have. There's nobody up here with me but me.
Phone call.
There's no one here but me. And if you have a name, please let me have it with a phone number, because I've been trying to call my family for the past 3 months, sir. And on top of that, Mr. Salvatore, understand something, Mr. Olsaver. Let me say something, please. Can I say something?
All right, both of you stop talking right now.
Okay, that's fine. I'm willing to listen, but this is getting ridiculous.
Mr. Lester, I said stop talking. You're continuing to talk. If you continue to Mr. Glazer, stop talking. That is not a difficult instruction.
Wow.
And I am not going to lose control of this proceeding.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Lester, I've muted your device. I instructed you to not talk 2 times, and you continue to talk. I can't hear what you're saying. You're on mute. Mr. Bayanetto, is there a plea offer in this case?
There is, Your Honor. Mr. Sneed extended a plea offer to Mr. Glazer of a plea to attempted possession of methamphetamine and the 2.
All right, Mr. Bayanetto, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. Mr. Lester, you unmuted your device. I am muting it again. If you unmute it, I'm going to hold you in contempt. I'm sorry, Mr. Bayanetto. What is the plea offer?
That's okay, Your Honor. The plea offer is attempted possession of methamphetamine and then the 2 RNOs as charged. I believe Mr. Sneed would also be dismissing the habitual offender notices as well. No habitual offender notices, and with an agreement to no MDOC time.
All right, so Mr. Glazer, are you asking to have Mr. Lester reviewed for competency and or criminal responsibility at this point?
I guess I'd still like to a chance to talk to him when, Your Honor, if we do that, it's going to take at least.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Glazer, but I'm just trying to keep a record of what's happening. I thought Mr. Lester had left the room, but he's not. He's still here. So I'm sorry. Continue.
Those evaluations will take at least 90 days to 120 days. The prosecutor further indicated on this that we could address bond, which I have set for this afternoon, but the prosecutor had indicated he'd have no objection to a PR bond if we get this matter settled. I need to speak with Mr. Lester, but and see if he can calmly talk about this plea bargain with me.
Mr. Lester, I'm going to send a request to unmute your device. Is there an officer that's there with Mr. Lester that can unmute that device at the jail, please? Mr. Lester is apparently talking to someone. I cannot see who that is that he's talking to. Is there an officer at the jail with Mr. Lester?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
All right. Thank you for unmuting that device. Mr. Lester, did you hear the plea offer that's been made by the prosecutor?
I don't even understand what that means. What are you talking about as far as that goes? Is he
I'm asking.
Can I finish?
I'm asking you whether you heard it or not.
Did I what?
Did you hear the plea offer made by the prosecutor?
Kinda. All I know is something about a no habitual attempted
All right.
this, that, and the third. I don't understand what that means as far as that goes. What is he offering? No jail time, probation?
Do you want to talk to Mr. Glazer to get an understanding? He can explain.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to. I haven't talked to this man in 30 days. 30 days, Your Honor.
Mr. Glazer just said he would like to talk to you to explain that offer to you, but you need to be able to sit and listen to what he says. Do you want to do that?
Being railroaded. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, I'm willing to.
You're not being railroaded. I'm asking you whether you want.
Can I talk to Glazer?
All right, Mr. Lester, if you're not going to participate and answer my questions, I'm just going to set this for another.
Yes, bro. I don't know how many times do I got to say it. Let me talk to Mr. Glazer, please.
Okay, thank you. That's the first time you've said that. So I will set up a breakout session for you with Mr. Glazer right now so that he can explain the plea offer to you.
Ernie, man. Oh.
We have Mr. Glazer and Mr. Lester back from the breakout session. Mr. Glazer, where do we stand with Mr. Lester's case at the moment?
I don't want him to no longer represent me, sir. Can we get somebody else, please? He's trying to, and he belittled me and wrote notes, him and Mr. Murphy. I would like to get somebody else, please.
Mr. Lester, I only have the ability to appoint the public defender's office. So
okay, but not out of their office.
Mr. Lester, stop interrupting me. I'm trying to explain to you that I only have the ability to appoint the public defender's office. I've done that. We've been through 2 attorneys now that you have not liked. You don't have the ability to pick your public defender. One has been assigned to you. If the public defender's office chooses to make a reassignment, that's their business, but I cannot make them do that.
Okay, that's fine, but I still don't want him to no longer represent you, Mr. Olsaver. I want you to see what's going on for yourself before I make any decisions. That way you see it for yourself, Your Honor. I'm not trying to sit up here and go back and forth with Mr. Glazer because there are certain things that I've asked him to do that he won't do. One being that there's prior footage camera that he won't even subpoena, for one. And then on top of that, it started on August 2nd, but I was arrested August 4th. So they harassed me for 3 days. He also was supposed to get the transcripts that he does not have, that I had to send off for myself. He hasn't came down here to talk to me. Every time that he says he does, this wind up happening. This is why I'm upset, Your Honor. It's because I'm not being able to talk to anyone. I don't talk to my sister because he just told me the fact that he talked to her, that I have mental health issues. I have not talked to my sister since 2015 when my mother passed away because she put me in jail behind some BS in the first place. I had to hitchhike back home to Akron, Ohio, just to go to her funeral. So we don't talk. And Mr. Glazier continues to sit up there and belittle me and slander my name to you, him and Mr. Murphy taking notes when they know what they're doing. That's a conflict of interest. That means they're talking behind my back. There's no way this is going to work between me and him. He's sitting there.
Mr. Lester, I'm just going to interrupt you because I want to correct one point.
Okay.
Mr. Glazier has not said anything to me that has not occurred on the record about you or about your case. And so to the extent that you just said that Mr. Glazier is somehow communicating with me about you and
I said Mr. Murphy,
that is
sir.
Incorrect. That is false, sir.
I said Mr. Murphy, not Mr. You. I never said
The same goes for Mr. Murphy. All
yes,
right?
he did.
Neither
He
of
just
them
sat there and told you that.
Mr. Lester, do not interrupt me.
Wow. Lying on me, man. That's
My obligation in these hearings is to create a record that can be. Do not unmute that microphone, Mr. Lester. Can you hear me? Shake your head yes if you can hear me. I need to make a record of these proceedings. That cannot be done when you are talking over me when I'm trying to explain something to you. It is disruptive to these proceedings and makes it impossible to create a record. And all this is doing is dragging things out and making it take longer. So I'm going to unmute your device once again, and I do not want you to interrupt me when I'm talking. And I want you to answer my questions directly when I ask them. Do you understand that? All right, go ahead and unmute the device. If you need help, you can ask the officer that's with you to unmute that device.
You guys, I don't trust none of y'all. I swear to God.
All right, Mr.
I don't trust none of y'all.
Mr. Lester.
I'm tired of this shit.
All right, at this point, I don't think Mr. Lester is in a position to be able to continue this hearing. So I'm going to adjourn this hearing to next week, November 8th at 8:15.
Man, I don't want him as an attorney. I'm sorry.
All right, if we can address who represents you next
I don't
week.
want him as an attorney, man. Y'all railroad me, man. This is exactly why the blacks don't trust the justice system. Exactly why. That man harassed me for 3 days and then fucked my period up and I'm being accused of doing something. This is crazy. This is crazy. I just wanted my fucking phone number. I want to talk to my fucking daughter. It's no bullshit.
Can you call and ask for?
Crazy, man. I can't take this shit. I'm so sick of them doing me like this. Fucking lying on me and shit.
Mr. Sub. Mr. Well, I guess, Ron, are we still proceeding with the plea on Mr. Clark?
The amended is being prepared, Your Honor.
Hi, it's Helen.
Your Honor, I didn't hear the date on Lester.
Next week.
Next Wednesday at 8:30? Okay, all right, thank
8:15.
you. 8:15. Thank you, Your Honor.
Spit on and be put out on fire. I'm not doing it. This is crazy, man. This shit.
Next up is someone who has had a rough Saturday night shoplifting at Kohls and then resisting arrest.
Kerrie Learstein,
Yes,
good morning.
morning.
Hill State of Michigan versus Kerrie Learstein. This is 2317136. Legend that on November 10, 2023, Pittsfield Township, Washington County, State of Michigan, 3160 Lower Road. You did while Kohls was open to public, steal property, was offered for sale price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000. It's being charged as a second offense based upon a prior conviction of January 9, 2023. That makes this a felony carrying a maximum penalty of convict of up to 5 years incarceration, a $10,000 fine, or both. Do you understand that?
Okay,
Count 2, you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Mark Haddo, a police officer of Pittsfield Township Police Department, that you knew or had reason to believe were performing duties as a police officer. A felony carrying a maximum penalty if convicted of up to 2 years incarceration, a $2,000 fine, or both. Do you understand that?
that's unbelievable to me, especially considering,
Well, this is not time for defense or anything like that. And
I understand that, but I'm expressing myself in terms of that. That's in this moment, God willing, so.
You're of course presumed innocent, but there's an allegation. I just need to make sure you understand the allegation.
Yeah,
According to you advise of certain rights, you have the right to remain silent. And you say on the record can and would be used against you at trial. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at all stages of these proceedings, including before, during, after trial, and at any time you're being questioned by a police officer. If you are unable to afford an attorney, one will represent you at public expense. You have the right to trial by jury and the right to bond. Do you have any questions with regard to your rights?
no,
The court has entered a not guilty plea. The people may address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people are not seeking a financial component in this case. We are asking that she have not go to the Kohls on Lower Road. Thank you. I appreciate that hand gesture, ma'am.
oh, not to you. That was definitely not to you.
Ms. O'Connor, the court was not looking up at that point in time. What happened?
Oh, that.
Okay. Who's that directed to, ma'am?
It was myself.
Okay. But let's just keep your hands down from now on, okay? Do you want any negative inferences for anything you may be doing, okay?
I'm not allowed to express myself.
Well, you can, but it may be detrimental to you, so.
And God's word, I'm not allowed to speak that as well.
Ms. Plumaya, would you address bond for your client, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Alexis Plumaya appearing with and on behalf of Ms. Learstein. At this time, we would be requesting a personal bond. Ms. Learstein is an Ann Arbor, Michigan resident. She is just getting back on her feet right now. She had been struggling with some mental health issues, and then also stated that she recently left a relationship, so she is just now staying on her own securely in Ann Arbor. And she does have several files that are holding her. I did explain that those may be likely to keep her for a little while, especially the probation violations, which I believe have been denied right now. But she would still prefer that I request a personal bond for her.
Thank you. All right. Condition of bond is you're not to use or possess alcohol, illegal drugs, or marijuana. Do you have a medical marijuana card?
No, sir.
Okay. You're not to violate any criminal laws, and you're not to leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. Next court date, we have probable cause conference, November 21st at 9 a.m. at the 14A District Court in person. If the matter is not resolved at that hearing, it will proceed to a preliminary examination. That is a hearing at which point in time the prosecutor must present sufficient evidence and or testimony that there is probable cause the crime is committed and probable cause you did commit the crime. Should the judge presiding over that hearing determine that probable cause does exist, the matter would be bound over, meaning transferred to circuit court for trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Per the people's request, we'll release you out of personal recognizance bond. Once you've dealt with the other matters, you're free to go in this case. You're all set.
Thank you so much, sir.
Have a good day. Stay safe.
Maybe she doesn't remember yesterday, but I sure do.
On the supplemental, People versus Kerrie Learston, 22615 FH, 22614 FH.
Hello, Ms. Learston, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. You are before the court today for a alleged probation violation. You were put on probation for a period of 2 years before Judge Conlon on January 9th of 2023. You could be sentenced as a maximum penalty following a violation to 1 year and or $2,000. Your probation violation alleges the following: that following sentencing, probation has not been able to find you. They conducted a home call on January 13th to your last known address. You were supposed to report on 1/17. You failed to report then, and your whereabouts have been unknown since that time. You have the right to have a hearing to contest the allegation. You also have the right to counsel. Would you like the assistance of the public defender's office?
Yes, please.
Okay, PD is appointed.
Thank you, Your Honor. An opportunity to meet with Ms. Learston today. You'd stand mute as to the allegations, and I would ask to set this matter for a hearing and to address the issue of bond.
Okay. We can set this for Thursday. This is my Thursday docket, which is 16th. Well, let's do bond first before we get a hearing date. On Thursday.
46. And
all right, old age is killing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the sentencing one. Okay. All right. I'll hear bond arguments.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client was arrested, I believe, accused of a retail fraud in the Kohls. My client denies any theft there. There may be an R&O charge. As far as failing to appear with to probation, my client has a lot of mental health issues. She suffers from PTSD, bipolar, schizoaffective disorder. She indicated she's currently not receiving medication, but is feeling all right. I did speak to her. I don't believe there's an issue as to competency as she stands now. She resides at Miller Manor. She's been there since March. She knew she had a warrant. She was afraid to come and be taken into custody. She does, however, believe that if she is released, she will be able to report as ordered. She's engaged with CMH and her caseworker at CMH, with whom she meets weekly. She indicates can help her manage her court appearances and as well as her probation appearances and help her keep track of those things. That's primarily been the issue, is the instability in her life has made it difficult for her to manage her calendar as well as what her responsibilities are.
Does she have a case manager at Miller Manor?
I believe so. Ms. Learston, do you have a case manager at Miller Manor?
I do, both at CMH and at Miller Manor. I have Nina Orlovsky at CMH and I have Tanya at Miller Manor.
Recommendation from probation.
Your Honor, we were requesting a remand. She has 3 misdemeanor cases in the 15th District Court for retail fraud matters. She has 2 pretrials on December 6th, 1 on December 14th. Officer and retail fraud first, with a probable cause conference on November 21st, 14A1.
That's the felony R&O.
Yes.
Is that accompanied with a retail fraud?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Prosecutor.
Alex Ebelush for the people, it's felony R&O and a retail fraud first. That's up for PCC on the 21st. We'd ask for remand until Thursday. Need some more clarity as to where she's gonna drop if she's released.
Say that again?
Where she would get out, where she would land. Sorry.
Okay, well, she has housing at Miller Manor. I'm gonna remand at this time. Mr. Overwater, could you employ the services of the AIM division to make sure that she has all the proper releases signed by Thursday for CMH and Miller Manor. And I'd like probation to be in on that too.
Don't think the AIM division will be able to do that by Thursday, but I can submit the referral.
Okay, that would be great. And probation, you know where she's at now, so you could get those signed. Yeah, by Thursday, maybe.
I will share the information.
Okay, Ms. Learstein, I'm gonna keep you in custody until Thursday. I want to make sure that we have all the support that you need prior to release. And I'm a little worried, since we haven't seen you for 11 months, that's an issue. So at this point, you're gonna stay in custody, but we'll see you Thursday at 1:30, ma'am.
Bye everyone, thanks for coming.